Welcome everybody to the Bluemour show. As usual, it's me, Pom Zach Williams, and I'm joined by Big Joey. How you doing, Joey? Are you all right, mate?
Good, mate. How are you?
Can't complain. We've obviously got a lot to discuss. We've got our first bread and butter deal done in Zach Williams, but first we'll go with the longest intro in the world, and that is to our wonderful members who are in the audience today. You're scrolling across the bottom of the screen as we speak. Without you, this show's not possible, and all the marvelous things and the wonderful stories we create and fabricate here at Bluemour HQ would not happen. So a huge shout out to you, and you guys will continue to run below at the bottom. And obviously, welcome to all you normal people as well, just the normal fans. You boys and girls and your comments make everything so much easier for me and Joey to discuss. So we're going to do a little bit of something different tonight in the show. We're going to discuss, obviously, Zach Williams, discuss Adam Saad, and then we're going to throw it out to you guys for the last 30 minutes where you can actually come on the show and ask a question or give us your thoughts and feedback live on air, which will be an exciting thing. So firstly, I suppose, Joe, as always, we should talk about the done deal. That is, Zach Williams is officially blue. So you guys in the audience and you guys out at home, let us know what you think. Zach Williams, talk to me about it. What do you think? Initial impressions?
How good. How good. So obviously, I mean, this was expected by most people, right? To get it done first day of free agency is even better. It just makes it a bit less anxiety inducing having to sit through the weekend to get this done. GWS evidently did not match the deal straight up off the bat, so it allowed us to just get that paperwork lodged and off we went. So Zach Williams officially, thank you, Gabrielle. That's my lovely partner. Thank you very much.
That's got to be his missus. I was dubious to post it just in case it wasn't your missus, and I was like, this could be the first divorce on Blue Abroad.
No, you've taken the piss there, Pom. Thank you very much. It's good. I mean, Williams, 6 year. It's a 6-year deal. There's so many different Thank you. Yes. All right. I got a haircut. Let's move. I look okay. I'm cleaning up. It's okay. No, a 6-year deal for Williams. I think there's different reports of how much he's on, and Pom, you might speak a little bit more to that in terms of media speculation. But there's reports of up to 900K over 6 years and whatnot. But look, this guy, we've spoken about him for 3 weeks straight now, I think, Pom, and this guy's a jet. Like, you pay for what you get. You know, he's had a little bit of injury history, but all for all, please go and look at his 2019 final series. Go look at his stats. Go watch his highlights. You'll understand why we went so hard for Zach Williams when you see that. And he played through the midfield. He was a catalyst for the Giants making it to the grand final in 2019. So do yourselves a favour. If you haven't watched any highlights of Zach Williams, do it straight after this show. Go watch the 2019 final series and his highlights, and you'll understand exactly why we're bringing this guy in. I'm super excited about this. This is insane.
Oh, I mean, this guy, if you like you say, the Collingwood prelim was absolutely grouse, wasn't it? Let's be honest. He took the game away from them. We can see what he does in the midfield for me. Like, when you actually look at his midfield time and his ability to when he's played in the midfield, this guy is another level good. He's definitely got a high ceiling. So for me, I think it's good. Now, as for the money, like, I know there's a lot of people saying that, it's too much. The media has presented more figures than I got on the beers in a university nightclub, honestly, which incidentally, in 3 years at university, it was 5 numbers, which is how many numbers Zach Williams has had. And I think, for me, we'll never know. But for me, what I will say is this. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And I think when they use the word up to, that means it may be 900K first year, but I would suspect that levels out. A bit like Jack Martin. Jack Martin was up to $1 million. Everyone said it was $1 million a year. Carlton came out and said it was downgraded to 450, back-ended. It's a common thing to front-end a contract, and I think that's what we'll see. And I'm confident that this will be a good deal, because at the end of the day, 900k is not a lot of money to pay someone if the club believe he is the X factor, the missing ingredient to win a flag. And what this guy brings is something we don't have at the club currently. So for me, I feel sorry for the club, because last year a lot of people said, get $2 million, throw that at Papley, just get him across. The club have obviously acted on a player they think is valuable. They've got him. So therefore, obviously they see it. And I trust the club to make that judgment. And we'll talk a bit on Zach Williams and Adam Saad and his value. But for me, I think value is what he can bring. I think that's the same with contracts. And that's the same with transfers in soccer in the UK. Whatever he brings is the value. It's not what he's done that gives you a base value. What you pay him is what he will bring. And if Zach Williams wins as a flag, it's worth every penny. It's worth every damn cent. And it's interesting. I was watching a video of Zach Williams just before we went on air. It's on GWS's website. Go and watch it. Of when he was drafted in pick 55 in the rookie draft. And he mentions, for me, he mentioned something key. He dreamt of kicking the winner for Carlton in a grand final. Lifelong blue bagger, getting the opportunity full-time in the midfield. I'm super excited. What do you think about that, Joe? I sold him to you.
Mate, that's all. I mean, to think about that, you think about Sam Doherty when he came across along the same vein. Boyhood blue bagger, dreamed of pulling on the navy blue. Still talks about in interviews every now and then. He talks about how much of a dream it is. Like, he just can't believe that he's not only playing for the Blues, but he's co-captain. That's what you want in the club. You want players that want to pull on the jumper. If you don't want to be here, see you later. Like, off you go. If you want to be here, we'll take you and prove your worth. Like, this is the club that we now need to be. It's the club that we now need to say to the rest of the AFL, you're on notice. Like, we're not quite there yet, but we're close. We're very close. It's been a long rebuild. It's been a long time since we played finals. We're putting the last final pieces of that jigsaw together. And, mate, when it comes together, if you've got a guy like Zach Williams that wants to play for the jumper on the big stage in finals, nothing better running through that midfield. Nothing better. There's a couple of people asking Pom about his contract specifically, on whether or not that 900K is just front-loaded for the first year and then evens out. Yeah, Justin Bell, that's exactly the comment that I was looking at. And then 750 per K. Is that correct? Have we heard anything further on that at this point?
Well, no, the article says, and for me, it's important, like I just said in my little blurb, it's up to 900K. So to me, that just means it's front loaded. It means that maybe 900 week year one, but after that, it might drop down to 700. I reckon no one knows what it is, and it's one of these vague things. It's something that I hate about the AFL, but I would say that it would be anywhere, if you added it out over the year, because someone said it was 4.8, the AFL's official website. So that's about 750K divided by 5. So to me, that's about right. That's what you pay a midfielder. That's it. Obviously, the club have found worth. You've also not had to put in a correct trade pick as well. So you save money that way. Long term, I think it's good money for me. I wouldn't read into this 900K. I thought the way that it was worded, it was up to, in small letters, 900K in big bold letters, 5 years. It was classic AFL media reporting. But like we said last year, don't you remember? Jack Martin, 1 million a year up to, and everyone lost their mind. For me, it's very, very important that it doesn't really matter what you pay him anyway. That's for me, I don't care. As long as we can get other players that we need in, who cares? Who cares?
I agree.
Who cares? We've got someone in.
And you know what? And we got him. I mean, other than the contract, we got him for free. Like, this guy is class. He is genuine class. And we've just, I still think we're underselling how big this is in terms of Carlton's off-season and as a turning point, because to this point, we haven't been able to land a free agent of this caliber. Not since free agency has begun. All right, Dale Thomas, fine. Like, some people might bring that up. But we got Daisy not at the peak of his career. He was on the way down. Towards the end of his career, he showed that he could be extremely serviceable. But Daisy's not in the caliber of Williams. Williams is at his peak right now. Like, this is a lot of people talk about the Collingwood game. If you go back to that season, you look and you watch his game against Sydney. He got three Brownlow votes for this game against Sydney that year. He had something like 10 marks, 10 clearances, 30-something touches. It was insane. It was insane. If this guy wants to play in the midfield and he wants to turn it on, we have a genuine X factor and an A grader in that midfield now, alongside Crip. This is massive. This is huge. Absolutely huge.
To back you up, Caleb, Fraga Como might have just totally destroyed that surname. Many apologies.
I'll give it a go. I reckon it's Fra Giacomo.
Well, there we are. Italian to Italian. That's what we need. Williams is extremely creative. Hopefully we can add Saad and maybe a Jed Anderson or a Bull like that. Exactly. He's an extremely creative player. He's someone that we don't have. And Dane Williams, calling him Zillions, welcome to the Flaggers, lost no players or picks, and he wanted to come to us. And for me, I think that's a huge point as well. He was very early doors, said he wanted to come here, fits the ethos, he gets it, exciting signing. And for me, I think we all agree, it's great just to have someone here as well. Day one, it's all done and dusted. There's been no smoke and mirrors. I'm excited. This is a huge positive. I don't think it can be understated of how positive that is. Someone has put their hand up very early doors. He's a brand name. We haven't gone to Costco. We're actually shopping at Coles in the premium section. And it's exciting. Exciting times.
So good. And to your point, getting it done day one of trade period, which a couple of people have said here, I think it speaks volumes already to what Nick Austin might bring this offseason. Like, we're so used to the theatrics around Sauce, dragging it out to the last day, big deal, and then nothing ever really got done, to be honest. Nick Austin getting this done straight off the bat. We know the Saad deal is front of mind, and there's different reports, and we'll get to that in a minute, Pom, I know, but there's different reports on where that's at. Like, Austin's getting to work, and he's not mucking around. He knows the players that we need to get. He's been told who we need to get. He'll go out and get these players. And I promise you, if there's a player that we are linked to, and it's a strong link, and you can say, you know what, we are going after this player and we want this player, I could almost guarantee at this point that we will get that player this offseason. If we don't, not that it would be disappointing, it would just be surprising to me.
Oh, 100%. And I think, like Sarah Post, thank you for your comment, experience, class and speed, total tick. And I think that's what we're lacking in the midfield. I think we're lacking, I think he has got that X factor. There's been a lot of comparisons about Chris Yarron. I see that. He takes the game on. I've lost your comment. One of you said he's tougher than Yarron. He definitely is as well. He's got good numbers in all the tough categories. He's a little mongrel. I'm excited about seeing this guy. I'm super excited about seeing this guy. And I can't wait. We'll go through some of your comments. Gina, hey guys from, everyone tests me out. Is that Cora, New South Wales? Love your work.
Right. I think that's right.
I did well there, eh? I'll tell you what, the Pom's been here 10 years, but if you come from a town that's harder than Stafford, you are absolutely screwed. A lot of talking here as well. We'll ask you this quickly from Reese, Trelaw or Oliver?
If we're talking who I'd want, Oliver. If we're talking who I think is more realistic or likely at this point, I'd say Trelaw.
Well, I mean, I'm going to say this. I want this in the chat. This is what is exciting. Me and Terry have been working on this chat for 2 years. So I want in the chat right now, in capital letters, Zach Williams running down the wing, because we're going to be able to sing this round one. You and me, Joey, a full-strength lager in each hand. We had to go, Zach Williams. Zach Williams. That's it, you see. Game over now. We've got the can. We have built that. So that's enough for me on Mr. Williams. We know that's a lock. So let's talk. And in the audience, let us know what you think. We're going to call this Saad, What, How, and When. So talk to me in the chat. And you, Mr. Joe, what do you think it's going to take? How and when?
It's doing my head in a bit, because Pick 7 keeps coming up in the media, and it's obviously extremely media driven at this point. I don't know why. Pick 7, like, I can't wrap my head around how every single person that writes an article or comments on the Saad situation lands at pick 7. The only constant in their argument is that he's finished top 3 in their best and fairest, or top 4 for every year that he's been there. Lockie Plowman finished top 3 in our best and fairest last year. Does that make him a pick 7? I wouldn't have thought so. I love Plowman. I love what he's done this season. But if he were up for trade, no chance the media would be saying he's worth a pick 7 if someone were to come after him. Saad is a halfback flanker. Okay, he gets 25 touches max. Yeah, he breaks lines. He does what he needs to do, right? But he doesn't rack it up. Okay, he doesn't. He sets up the play. He's like a little bit of a quarterback, but he's not someone that racks up the disposals and really like hurts players with every single possession. He'll be able to find the loose ball. He'll be able to gain some meters, and yeah, he's got a great kicking efficiency behind him. But he's a halfback flanker. Like, they're a dime a dozen. He's not an A-grade midfielder. He's not someone that's a halfback flanker that can go through the midfield like Zach Williams, who would, for me, if we had to trade for Williams, I'd give up pick 7 in a heartbeat. Okay, pick 7 for Saad straight up. Even if there was a pick coming back like a second rounder, it would piss me off. It doesn't make sense. There's in the history of the game, has no one ever traded a top 10 pick for a halfback flanker. I don't care who it is. So we definitely need Saad. The fact that he's out of contract, the fact that he's told the club he doesn't want to be there and that he'll only play for the Blues next season does not give anyone in the media the right to say the Blues need to give up pick 7 for Saad, because it's wrong. For me, two second rounders, maybe. A second rounder and a player, maybe. But at the end of the day, just make him walk to the preseason draft. We've done it before. If he refuses medicals from clubs would be stupid to take him. If you front end his contract so that we pay him $900,000 in the first year, clubs won't be able to take him. So there is no, and we've said it for 3 weeks now, there is no leverage on the Dom side here. If pick 7 were involved in any way in this, I would be extremely, as happy as I am today that we got Zach Williams for nothing, I would be so disappointed in Austin in that deal, because it just would not make sense.
I feel you, and we know that I have been 100% on flagging the Bombers, ripping them off. It's the 22% of gypsy in me that comes from my nan that makes me want to rip these guys off. But I will say this, to me, and I've just seen it in the comments as well, there is a huge rumour going around at the moment that 26, I think Port now have got with the pushback, is going to go for Fantasia. And there is a lot of talk that Carlton are pushing for a second rounder back for pick 7. So pick 7 will become 8 today, probably will become 9, 10 with some of the trades that are coming through with the compo picks, because the AFL like to give you a bonus if you can't keep your players. So for me, I'm on the fence on this one. I want to rip them off. A big part of me does. But also, I've got PTSD from, I'm thinking pre-season draft, that from all these deals that don't quite go on. So for me, I'm of the school that if we can get him in, pick 7, if we can get 26 back, for me, get the deal done, get him in, lock him away. Because pick 7 to me, if we go for that, says to me that Teague wants him. And if Teague can assure me, which by this massive push for Saad, that would say to me that he's obviously a player of interest. Now, I look in the draft and I look at 7, 8, 9, 10, the top 15 picks. So let's just say it becomes pick 10. For me, says to me that you can't find a player that makes us better now. Saad does. Saad, even if it's Tanner Braun, and we know I'm a big fan of him, Saad's better than him. Saad is an instant impact. You know what you see. Now, I don't want to do it, but I would back the club if it's 7 for 26 back. If it's 7 for 26 back, I would back the club, because to me, I guarantee you, I've followed this draft as I do every year. There is no one in that draft that is better. And at the moment, it looks like Oliver's locked away. It looks like all the key players we were targeting are locked away. And the only way I want to give up pick 7 is for an Oliver. I don't think Trelaw would be pick 7. Hearing the reports, hearing the Gold Coast rumours, if they come in, they're looking at a future pick for Trelaw, and they're going to do it the next time. I don't think we'll split pick 7 now, because I think with 6, 7, potentially 8, if we do this trade going to Essendon, there is no way that Tanner Braun will be there. So the Geelong deal is gone. That's who Geelong want. That's who they're active. So for me, that pick swap now has changed, because Tanner is a player that Essendon will want. And there is 2 players around 6 and 7 that fit Essendon. There's 2 good midfielders. There's good forwards there that they can take. So for me, that's it. So for me, I don't want to do it. It's a lot of money for a halfback flanker. Everyone's right. It's a lot of money, especially when you can walk into the PSD. But I can understand the club's logic of getting him in, getting him sealed. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. He's in blue. We've got 26. We've also got another second rounder. They can be used for players that we're talking about. Higgins. Small forwards would be the next issue. Small forwards would be the next issue. And they're all people like Narkle. They're all around them picks. So for me, it makes sense. I reckon that the midfielder now will be Setterfield. We know that works. You've got Kent, that is a tough inside player. He's a big body. He can come in. He can play across the forward line as well. Walsh back in the midfield as well. SPS always goes forward with Saad there. We have massive options there already. That would mean next year, you've heard Merritt's agent say he'll stay this year, reassess it next year. We could potentially be in this situation again next year with Saad. So with Merritt. So for me, I understand it. I understand it. I don't like it, and I'm not saying do it, but I am saying I'm 100% behind it if we get something coming back that can be used. Get the players in. It's obvious Saad and Williams, for me, are important. Obviously, Saad and Williams are important.
And I think that makes sense. I think for me, it would flag if we were to use pick 7 that there's no one that we think is gettable at now pick 8 potentially, right? So Tanner Braun would be the one that comes to my head. If we think he's not going to be there because we think Essendon will take him, then okay, use it, get something back. What it would also flag to me though is 2 things. One of 2 things. That we will potentially use our future first on someone other than Oliver. And I'll probably ask your thoughts on this in a minute, Pom, as well. Future first on someone other than Oliver if we do want elite midfield help right now. Or we'll just go after those small forwards and we'll back ourselves in to get into Merritt's ear and potentially sign him as a free agent next year or Oliver the year after. That's what it would tell me, is if we gave up pick 7 that easily with everything surrounding Saad's contract and everything surrounding the situation. So for me, Pom, if it were to happen and we were to give up a future first, say, or let's say we get 26 in and we've got 26 and 27, is that enough for someone like Ollie Wines, whose name came up today from someone I was speaking to? Not that I'm saying he's gettable. I don't know what his situation is now at Port after the final series, whether he wants to say, whether he's going to sign on. Would 26 and 27 be enough? Would a future first and a future second with a future third coming back be enough? Where do you see a potential Ollie Wines deal or even an Adam Treloar? Would those picks be enough if we were to go after one of those 2 this year? Would it be enough to get the deal done?
I think that all midfielders that are worth their weight in gold are a minimum of 2 firsts. I think you look at the history of the AFL, everyone is. I can't see for the life of me Ollie Wines wanting to leave a top 8 side. And I think if they do, I think looking at how Port play, he's integral to their system. And if he wanted to move because of Victoria, and that was the rumours last year, I'd imagine they'd ask for a bare minimum of 2 firsts, because it leaves a hole that they can fill, but it'd be a reluctant fill. So for me, I understand the argument of we want another third player. I'm 100% behind that, and I'm all excited. But I do genuinely believe that Saad and Williams, and I'll say this to you, the last good trade period ever was Chris Judd, wasn't it? Let's be honest. The last time we signed a player, we know what we're getting. We know what we're getting with Judd. You could argue McGovern was in that category. I don't buy it though. McGovern was always the third fiddle. But this guy, Saad, is what you see is what you get. You know, it's what we need. I don't think there's anyone in the audience that wouldn't say Saad is first 22, and he's something we don't have. So for me, I understand why I think Williams and Saad, and you add any other name in there, is a huge win, because we're just outside the 8 now. We've got 2 very good players that rate elite for a lot of numbers, a lot of categories. They're best 22 as well, which exactly what FastHeavySuppressedTurtle, God, that was hard to say, is saying, what's your best 2, including these? Again, it's including them. These are players that we know are 22 players. They're not borderline like Noons last year. Is he 22? There's no debate. These guys are walk-up starts. So I'm excited, and honestly, I hate to sound like, I feel like I've become Terry. I always tell him off, fence sitting. But I feel like I actually backed the club this time in this one. If they do use 8, 9, whatever it becomes, so be it. I reckon there has to be something back. And I think second rounders equate to role players. And for me, if we can't get an Oliver or an A-grade top 10 player, don't pay it. Don't pay it just because you have to. So for me, yeah, that's where I sit. I'm super amped. Williams and Saad. It's great that I can go out and get a Williams shirt now. I'm excited. I'm excited.
No, absolutely. And look, and to your credit, it makes sense, Pom. Like, yes, I'd be disappointed if Pick 7 were involved just because of the contract situation with Saad, and I think we can walk into the preseason draft like we've already proven. But at the same time, I'd back in the club's judgment. Like, the disappointment would be there, but I'd back in that they've got a longer plan and that they're using Pick 7 because they back in our squad. Adding these 2 players in, bringing in Kemp, bringing Charlie back, like massive, massive offseason if you include Kemp and Charlie as part of the additions to next year's squad, right? Like, because they haven't played this year. Kemp hasn't played at all. So technically it's like the situation with Doherty. We added an All-Australian halfback flanker for nothing this year. So yeah, I'm with you from that sense.
Okay, well, let's go to the fans. We're going to do something never done before on the Bluemour Mill, and that is we're going to bring you in. And the first guy we've got in is young Mark. How are you doing, Mark?
Can you all hear me?
Absolutely.
I can hear you loud and clear, Mark. Buddy, how are you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I can, yeah.
Oh, I'm not sure he can hear us. Oh, no.
Well, that was a good start, wasn't it?
We'll try and get you back on, Mark.
We'll try. Make sure you've got your camera on, or I know you're here. Fallen Sports, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Good, you?
I'm
Good.
very well, my friend. How are you?
Pretty good.
What have you got for us, Big Fallen Sports?
I was just thinking with the mix of the midfield at the moment, you've got Doherty Cripper, who looks like he's going to be the main bull in the midfield, and you're probably going to get Kemp through there as well. Who would you guys have as that third inside mid? Would you have Kennedy or would you have Setterfield?
Setterfield for me. I'm a big fan of him. I think he's clean. I think he's got hands like Judd for me as well. He's very clean in traffic. I'm a big fan. I don't know about you, Joey. What about you?
Exactly the same. Obviously we've still got Curnow running through there for at least another couple of years.
Yeah, Curnow as well.
Setterfield's the next one. Setterfield's only 21, right? He's played 20-odd games, 30-odd games now. Actually, probably in his 40s. But if he has another big off season, he puts maybe 2 kilos onto that frame and just gets that real real
buff nature.
Real insight. Yeah, if you can get that big body going, like he showed this year how tough of the ball he is with his clearance work, with his
for an inside mid, he's a very good kick. Like, he breaks lines.
Absolutely, and I just think he knows. I think he knows how to find the football. I think he knows pressure players around the ball, which
he's got a good running pattern, so he's able to find the ball pretty easily.
Absolutely.
And then I think.
I've got a question for you, Fallen Sports. I know you're a huge fan of the channel and you're also a very respectful Hawthorn member. If you had to pick a midfielder outside of our big three, say our big three are Cripps, Setterfield, and we'll say that it's
Well,
Walsh, who would you pick? Who would if you like to come to us? Who would you like from Carlton? Who do you think would take the Hawthorn?
Williams. Every day of the week, Williams.
He's picked someone outside of your big three, Pom.
I'd think about SPS though. I think he's an absolute talent and a half. His skills are elite. He's got good pace. He's probably not as agile as you'd expect from a bloke who's not the tallest, but his sidestep and just the way he's able to move through traffic is just elite.
You're talking to the right man there about SPS, mate. I'm all for it. His ability to get through traffic is something we didn't utilise this year, and it cost us. Absolutely cost us.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Falkland Sports. If anyone's in the audience, honestly, check out Falkland Sports as well. He does good generic as well, AFL content. It's not all Hawthorn stuff. And he's a really good bloke as well. Good friend of the channel. Thanks, mate.
Thank you, mate.
Okay. Hey, tell you what, this went well. Everyone thought he was a troll, but I recognised the name. So we'll go again. We've got young Steve Orr. How are you doing, my friend?
Not bad, Pom. I like the young. That's great.
Always respectful on this show. I only abuse my co-hosts. Never the guests.
That's true. That is definitely true.
So, yeah, cracking day for the Carlton Footy Club, boys, I reckon. It's been a long time since we can actually sit down and smile and say, you know what, we've got a big name that's going to do a lot of really good things for our club.
Oh, I'm with you. Usually at this stage, I'm just making up a train to get on and get excited, but it's nice to have one locked away in the bank, and everything now really for me is a bonus now. We've got one locked away. So I'm excited.
100%. So, you know, there's a lot of talk of what is now our pick 8, I suppose. But if you look at it ruthlessly, pick 8 to Essendon. I know it gives them 6, 7, 8, which sucks ass, but you sort of look at that and you go, well, we've got Williams for nothing. We've got Saad in. If we can get a second round pick back from Essendon, personally, I think that's a really good win for us. Really good win for us.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where Joe sits on this. I know Joe's against it, and I know a lot of the fans are against it, and I understand why, because he is a free agent. I've said it, walking to PSD as well. But, like, for me, I just think, personally, I look what I can get in the draft for pick 8, and I think we want established talent. We could let him walk to PSD, but then I think, what if in a week's time, North Melbourne throw 2 million at him? They a new coach and they turn his head.
Absolutely. And I think that's the biggest what if now, right? Is with North. They've obviously got a lot of space in their cap with those delistings. You know, they're going to have a massive cultural shift coming up. But Pom, I'll put it to you this way: if this was EPL, right? There's a free agent that United are going after, right? And that free agent's former club says to you, no, you can't have him unless you pay us £8 million. What would your response be? He's out of contract.
I mean, the difference is in soccer free agency, it's not like militant like AFL, where once you're out of contract, you can sign for whoever you want. There's no claim. And we only have the bondman rule for young players or players that have been there forever. But genuinely, you sell anyway. Teams don't hold players. They don't want to lose them for free. So usually there's a cut price. But I understand that point. I'd probably be pissed. But if it was a situation where potentially Man City or Chelsea could come in under our nose and turn it, I'd probably be saying, get the deal done. If you get it done.
This is where, as an Essendon supporter, I'm extremely happy with what Dodoro does for that club, because he went to the absolute extreme in beginning these negotiations, and he's now normalized pick 7. Whereas 3 weeks ago, we were both talking about pick 7 as untouchable for Saad. Does that make sense? Or pick 8 now? So the way that he does it, Dodoro, I don't know how he does it, but he's now normalized it across not just the media, but across the Carlton fan base to say, yeah, if we give up pick 8, we're good as long as we get a second rounder back. And you know what? if it happens, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. I'll be disappointed, but I'll be okay. I'll make it through.
Maybe Todoro's inside my head.
He is, absolutely. He's inside all of it.
We just got to back Nick in for his first year having a crack. He'll do the right thing by us. I think he's going to be really good for us. And just quickly before, Jed Anderson, what are your thoughts?
I'm a big fan. Big burly left footer. I love a left footer. What about you, Joe?
I'm a little bit opposite. I mean, he'd be good, but who comes out of that midfield for someone like Anderson? Like, is Setterfield's spot then up for grabs? Is it Curnow? Like, I think we've got those players already. I think the midfielder that we need to add is in that elite category. Not that Anderson be fringe 22. He probably would be starting 22 with what he showed this year. But I don't think this is the time to go after someone that could potentially push out a Setterfield.
Do you think possibly they'd be waiting for next year to go after a big guy now? Now we've
got Williams. And I think, like I said before, if we do give up pick 8 in this deal, it signals to me that they've got something planned mid to long term for someone else.
There's definitely something going on, whether it's this year or there's something going on.
That's how it feels.
I thought when Merritt said he'll stay this year and assess the options next year, that felt to me when we suddenly went off the idea of everyone. That said to me, maybe Austin's thinking, sort contract re-signings out this year, sort the players that we definitely need this year, and then we'll hit him hard next year on the free agency. That's what that said to me. And I think if you get Zach Merritt for free next year or a cut price deal, it's a huge win for me. Huge win.
Absolutely.
Massive win.
Thank you very much, mate.
Cheers, Steve.
First time on. Loved it. Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Cheers, mate. Here we are. Old man, can we hear Mark?
You have.
Yes. How are you doing, sir?
Pommy and Joey, it's finally good to see your face. I've heard some good things about you.
Yes, mate.
Of course, with obviously our Messiah, Terry, I guess maybe having a bit of a Friday nap, or he's probably got some other plans that he's obviously putting in for the show for next time. So we go from there. Anyways, firstly, I just want to give some shout outs. Mostly, of course, to obviously boost our women's supporters on this show. Just some names: Melanie Jane Brooks, Madison Stafford, Alicia Moore, Diana Tarzia. A bit of shout outs there. And secondly, most importantly, with obviously the news of finally getting Zach Williams into the club, obviously it's good. I mean, a bit of a query as far as what we've ended up getting him for price-wise. But at the end of the day, if he obviously stays healthy, just like the rest of our list, and comes to fruition, well, then it shouldn't be too much of a bigger deal. Sometimes you've got to be able to bite the bullet as much as you can. But I just want your thoughts on just some other outside players, as far as not just with small forwards, but even maybe that mid-size forward to slash midfielder. Now, when you think of Richmond having so many depth players, including, funny enough, the likes of a Josh Caddy at 28 years of age. He's obviously been at 3 clubs. Does he all of a sudden put himself in a position of going to a 4th club, hence a side like us that's slowly looking to get onto the rise? Do we add a 2-time premiership player into that mix with obviously a mid-forward position that could obviously probably do a little bit of releasing for, let's say, a Cripps, maybe even a little bit of a Walsh at the same time? Just wondering what your thoughts are with that. And before we get to the next part, thoughts of what's happening with Lachie Hunter. I mean, there was a little bit of a Chinese whisper around that, but at the same time with Nick Austin having his relations with the Bulldogs, it'd be really nice as well to see if we do have an agenda of looking even at a wingman as well. Yeah. So up to you guys.
The talk on Hunter's gone a bit quiet, and Pom, you might have another thought on this. I think that's gone pretty quiet for mine. I don't think unless there's a late play for it, I can't see that happening. If you talk about like an outside player, I know you mentioned Caddy, but for me, someone like Tom Phillips would be one I'd look at on the outside on a wing. I think he's an elite runner, and you know, you saw what the impact of someone like Nunes was this year on a wing. Phillips Phillips is on another level altogether. I think he's extremely underrated across the competition in terms of what he gives that Collingwood side. It has been said that he's potentially out of favour. So I think if you can jag Phillips for a second rounder, like if we've got a second rounder coming back, like that could be a really, really good addition as a third player, Pom.
You see, I'd be happy with Caddy if we lost, say, someone like McGovern, because I think Caddy does his best work when he acts as that third guy in the forward line. He's also got the luxury of he can go in the midfield and throw his weight around. He's also played on the wing. So I think versatility-wise, I would rather Caddy be there than McGovern, personally, because I think he fills 3 holes instead of being a round hole in a square peg at the moment. But having said that, I do believe McGovern will come good. And I think when Sauce said something the other day, he signed him because of working with Curnow and Mackay. We have never seen that, really. And I think that's what this is building towards. I think Curnow, he's so athletic. Mackay is so bullish in the air. And McGovern is that kind of happy medium, the happy sauce that holds it together. And I think at the moment, McGovern and Casbolt, too similar. And I think it doesn't work. But I think you take Casbolt out of the starting 22 and you throw in Curnow, I think suddenly that forward line reminds me of 2017, 2016 Adelaide, where they were peppering goals. All 3 blokes got 40. And that is an exciting thing for me. And if Curnow comes back, I think we don't even have to worry about it. You're getting a lot of love as well, Mark. A lot of people. You got Rocco, you got Lana. Tell you what, we need to start a Mark fan club.
I was just going to say as well, look, again, you do make those good points as well. But, I mean, is that pretty much the reason why Levi Casbolt's more of that insurance policy, just in case if a young Charlie Curnow, and I pray to God, as you can see, I'm just closing my eyes, hopefully not another injury. Just a shout out to him personally. Don't play basketball. So, Alex, if you're watching, KR that is, don't get him to play a bit of ball. Just let him go about his own business. Maybe let Brother Ed try and put in a bit more beef into him as well, because Ed's probably about my size, but at least looks like a Hulkamania type build. So, just fingers crossed for him. Please stay healthy. But, yeah, in saying that, well, look, let's just throw this one in. Would you have Caddy in, McGovern out? But, I mean, at the same time, I see where you're coming from. We do want to be able to have that 3 forward line structure, which obviously you looked at Adelaide. They had basically their talls, then obviously the mid-size, then obviously their pocket players like Betts then and Charlie Cameron. So it's an interesting one at the same time, boys. But yeah, look, I think it's just important that this club, not only just from the board side of things, with the social media platforms these days, I hope that us fans are having a lot more of an input and say, so hopefully that the club can see what we're actually thinking as well, rather than, of course, they've got their agenda, but we know they will know what's best. But don't be surprised that we play the good, what's the word I'm trying to look for? You could say that depth fiddle, where some of us have very imaginable ideas as far as what's best for this club, and we all want to see them succeed, not just for the here and now, but for the long run. Like you look at Geelong from 2007 and where they still are right now. They missed 1 finals appearance in those last 13 years. Our last prelim was the year 2000. That's 20 years, boys. You look at the ages that we're at right now. You just feel that this has to be it. I want to be having to play finals for not just 5-6 years straight. Why don't we play a decade or so straight? We know it's not easy, but this is where you've just got to basically push and shove and take away all those opportunities from the rest of the other clubs. So that's my take.
Totally agree, mate.
And I think you're spot on. And I think this is it. I think next 10 years, we're going to be finals, mate. Don't worry.
Go Blues.
Go Blues.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, cool. Just before the next one, Mark is a great friend of the channel, but Justin's asked this a few times, so we'll get around to this as well. What do you think about pick 7 being traded? Well, it'd be pick 8 now, for 18 in the second round, and then use 18 for Trelaw. Get everyone in the comments, let me know. Are you a big fan of Treloar?
I like that. I think pick 18, and I like it on the caveat, Justin, that Pies pay some of his salary, so 250 to 300k. I think he's on 900k. It sounds like on that back ended deal. I don't know what they're doing at the Pies. Their front office that are cooking the books have absolutely no clue how to juggle these deals. Like, they are in a world of hurt. So I mean, if Treloar's there, you could potentially leverage their situation and get him on the cheap. Like, he's a gun, right? Like, he's a genuine gun midfielder. You can get him for pick 18 and have them pay 250k for his contract. Absolutely, you walk him through the door. Absolutely. And if you get that second rounder back as well for pick 7, why not? Why not?
I like it, and I like Treloar, and maybe I'm getting old and miserable, but this last week, I've just been thinking about our list, our 22, and I just think, for me, if I'm bringing in another player, it's A grade, someone like Clayton Oliver, 23 years old next year, young player, decade of football ahead of him, very limited injuries, and he provides a role that we know works. If we look at Fremantle, their increase in numbers by being able to rotate on ballers who change games has really helped them out in the back end of the year, where we haven't had that luxury until this year. Setterfield stepping up, really carrying the load while Cripper was hurting. So for me, I like Treloar, but I think there's 3 things that put me off him. One, I genuinely believe Stocker has a huge high ceiling. And I think Kent, where we got him, potentially is an absolute jet and could be the pick of the bunch outside of Walsh of players we've recruited. That's how good he is. Was number 1 draft pick the year before. He was touted as top 2, and then he got the injury. So for me, I think Setterfield, Kerno leading the way with Cripper allows us to blood them slowly. And next year, suddenly you might have 10 games into these guys. They're showing it. And Treloar would take away from that. And I do worry about his hammies at 28 years old next year. The players he's around as well. He's got Taylor Adams, Pendlebury. These guys are elite users of the ball. And that is kind of covers up for his turnovers. Even though he's got good effective disposal numbers, they're at right average of where an AFL midfielder is. And I think in our midfield, that would be exposed a lot more because we don't have a Pendlebury. We don't have a guy that moves the change. So that's my one reservation of Treloar. And I sometimes think I get caught up in we need an A-grade player. And I don't think we do. That's my answer.
And I think that's fair. I think that's fair as well, Pom. I think that's fair. I would only take him if a large portion of that contract's being paid as well, and we get him on the cheap for those reasons. So.
100%.
Who's next? Who we got?
Unclassified Footy. Welcome to the channel, my friend.
Hello. I've got 2 questions for you. So they're saying we've paid Zach Williams from 600k to around 900k. Do you think that's an overpay for, I guess, a role player at GWS coming to Carlton?
I think it's a tough one. And that's actually a good question, because someone made a comment before that he didn't finish in their top 10 in their BNF. They had a down year. Like, you probably can't blame him. He probably checked out halfway through the season, to be honest. But being a role player there versus being someone that is critical to our side, I think that's where the difference is. So I'm just trying to think of an example where this has happened, where a player has been like similar to, I guess you could say similar to
Butler. Look at Butler.
Yeah, well, that's sort of where my head was at. Similar to Butler, right? Like, he was sort of on the fringe. He's probably less of a role player than what Williams is, to be fair. And now he's come into the Saints, and he's arguably their most important. So you have to pay for what you want, for what you need. And please, if you haven't, go watch his highlights. Like, he's too good to just be a role player. He's too good to just be paid 600k as a role player. This guy is genuine Rolls-Royce quality. Genuine Rolls-Royce.
The other question is, obviously Oliver is probably going to stay at the D's. Who do you think is the other player we're looking for and is a real chance of coming?
Pom?
I think you will see the next one be a small forward. And if you held a gun to my head, I think that small forward will be Tyson Stengel. I think we will open that line of communication because I just think that's the bets factor there. And I think the fact Adelaide are getting a lot of freebies, I think that will push them to look at trading him. And I think Carlton will look at it with any bets. It's a family member. He's got a lot of talent. That'll probably be where they go. And I think next year will be the year that we'll probably go hard at another big player. But I think the big name players this year will be Saad and Williams. And I think after that, it'll be good, honest footballers.
Yeah. Well, I think Stengel would probably play his best footy with Eddie by his side, following in his footsteps. But, yeah, I think he's a great player. I think this year is kind of put him off his game. But I think he's got a bright future if he comes to Carlton or if he stays at Adelaide.
Absolutely.
100%. And honestly, thanks so much for your question. You're absolutely fantastic. Please come back on soon.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Here we are. This is going to put a cat amongst the pigeons. We've got Kev Magpies. He's a big Collingwood fan, but no hate. He's always been lovely to us, even though we are mortal rivals. How are you doing, Kev? You all right, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm just putting on the line. Just a couple questions for you. Who would you rather have, Higgins or Caddy?
Higgins for me.
Higgins at Richmond, definitely, yeah.
Absolutely, Higgins every day of the week.
And I'll tell you, and I heard on what you said before about Collingwood, and I tell you what, mate, it just pisses me off that we have players wanting big money when they're not worth that much. I tell you that is really annoying.
I think for me, it's the way it's structured. Like, I don't understand why there's so much money sitting on back-ended deals with Treloar and Phillips, like, at the helm of that. It would not surprise me if Grundy, if his deal is back-ended as well, and this absolutely blows up in a couple of years' time. Like, the back-ended deals have never, ever worked in football. Front-ending is where it's at, so you can plan for the future. It's come back to bite him in the ass, and I genuinely can't see Treloar there next year in any way, shape, or form. And unfortunately, mate, it's at the club's misdemeanors.
I do think Treloar is a great example as well for Carlton fans as well. We get caught up in that. This guy's got so much potential. Throw money at him. And I think $1 million for Treloar when you signed him was good money. He looked like he was going to get better. He looked like he could be a game breaker. And in my opinion, I don't know what you feel, Kev, I think he's just stagnated. I think he's the same level as he was then, now, but he's got a lot of injury concerns. And I think it's been bad for business back-ending it on potential. And I think that's what happened with Collingwood. He looked really good, a bit like Dylan Shield, looked good in a good team, but suddenly when the pressure is on, and I think there's a lot of pressure playing for your team, like Carlton. It's a passionate fan base. It's a big name. And GWS doesn't have that. And I think it's tough on a player.
Well, I think it was this as well. Like, I did a video of the Adam Jaw situation yesterday coming home from work. And it's just like, one thing that pisses me off with even with my supporters, I don't know about your supporters, is that the media talk to the people inside the club. Like, it's not like they don't get their information from nowhere. They've got people inside of our two clubs, and they talk to the media. Like, have a look at North Melbourne. They thought they were a top 8 team. Brad Scott told them, no, we have to rebuild. And look at them now. They're stuffed. So,
yeah, 100%. And when it goes bad, it goes bad. Trust me, Carlton Football Club know all about that. When it goes bad and you hit rock bottom, This sport, AFL, has a horrible way of kicking you in the arse and letting you know it's bad.
Same thing with Giordano with Essendon's situation. They should have got rid of him last year, and now they kept him, and he's only played 5 games and he's injury prone. And Essendon are going to be a really shit team next year, definitely. But I've got nothing but respect for you guys on what you do. Even Terry, I love all your work. So
thank you, mate. No, I really appreciate that. Thanks for coming on and asking a couple of questions. It's been good.
Don't forget to subscribe to my channel at Kev's
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. With my videos as well, Mum doesn't like me doing it at home except for when I'm broadcasting my games. But yeah, if you see it outside, you'll understand. But thank you for having me, and
Thank you, mate.
Cheers, Kev.
good
luck for next
year.
year as well, except when you play Carlton.
Yeah, that's right, mate. See you, mate.
See you, mate.
We've got time for 2 more, so the link's in there. And we've got Zach. You've been waiting ages. Are you there, mate?
What's up, guys?
Hey, Zach. You've been knocking on the door to getting this tonight.
Yep.
You're obviously
Carlton
very
fan.
keen.
Carlton fan.
Absolutely. What questions have you got, mate?
With the Zach Williams deal, what do you think about it?
Pom? Pommy, did you want?
What?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Oh, Zach, I'm a big fan of the Zach Williams one, mate. I think it's good business. We've obviously identified that's a need. He has got high elite ceiling. He's playing in the midfield. And I think a bit like Jack Martin is a good example. Look what happens when we give players what they want that the clubs they're at the moment don't give them. So for me, I think Jack Williams, when he's happy, has played great football. So I'm really happy with this deal. I think it's good business all round. Big
get, mate. Big get. He's going to be a massive player for us next season. Get excited. Zach.
Where do you think he'll finish in the best and fairest? If I held a gun to your head, Zach Williams next year, where will he finish in the best and fairest?
I think he might finish 3rd, something like that.
Oh, big call. That's, you know what? Zach's come on for 2 minutes and he's made a bigger call than I've made all year. That's massive. That is massive.
Hopefully we can do some work next year against these teams.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
And my second question is, who would you rather prefer coming to the club, Jack Higgins or Clayton Oliver?
I think Oliver, if you can get him, absolutely, he's top of the list. But Jack Higgins probably seems more realistic, even though he's, or someone of Jack Higgins' mould seems more realistic, I should say, because it looks like it's all but done at St Kilda. I've
got a soft spot for gingers, so yeah, I get Clayton Oliver in. Big fan. But I reckon Higgins is the most likely of the two.
For sure. Thank you, Zach.
All good. Thank you guys for letting me hop on.
No problem, mate.
You're a legend. Oh, you know what? Maybe he's been a daddy, but you know, when I see someone below the age of 21, my heart pounds.
That's awesome. Zach, mate, that's like I said, you've made more impact on this channel than I have in your 2 minutes, mate. For top 3 yeah. If Zach Williams finishes top 3 next year, Zach, we'll get you on a show for half an hour, mate.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean, that's a lesson to young Joey there as well. Like, you know, this show's all about big calls, and someone else has made a big call instead of me. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, we've run out of time, but that was absolutely amazing. Thank you, all of you who stayed, who jumped on. Definitely next Friday, we will do the same thing. We will throw it out to you, and you can come on with me and Joe and talk absolute nonsense about whatever you want. But hopefully, this time next week, we'll have Saad and someone else at the game.
Absolutely. And guys, there's been a lot of questions about where the main man has been. Where is Terry? He's been missing in action. He's back on Monday. So tune in Monday. Monday, we kick off with our trade recap shows. That'll happen every single night. We'll be recapping the day's events. It'll be a mixture of Pommy, myself, Tez, a few others. Just get stuck in. There's a lot of content coming, guys.
Cheers, guys. See you soon, and go Blues.
Go Blues.